Hello, WhatsOnStage Podcast listeners. It is Alex here with another bonus episode of the podcast. On this episode, we're talking to Rob Madge and Sophie Drake. Madge will be adapting Brandon Thomas's famous 19th century farce, Charley's Aunt, for the stage in a new adaptation, directed by Drake. We wanted to find out what it was like bringing a 19th century play into the present day and what challenges the pair have faced as they take the comedy and tackle it with Watermill audiences. I guess the best place to start is how did this project find its feet? It's such a remarkable play of all plays to take on, but also such a lovely venue to be taking it on at.
Yeah, I mean, so Paul, who's the artistic director of the Watermill, was really interested in this piece, and I think felt from those that catalogue of Victorian farces, this one really stands out as being genuinely funny still, and that a lot of the dialogue still really lands, and so I was kind of interested in it, and so I read it and went, okay, actually, yeah, there's a lot of it, and I sort of knew of the history of the play and found it very funny still. But one of the central things that came out from reading it was, how do we make this kind of central conceit of a man, cis straight man, dressing up as a woman, and that being the gag of the story. And so I was like, I think we really need a strong adaptation on this to give it a kind of 2025 perspective.
And no one else was available, so they called me.
And Rob was the only one. No, Rob, I just thought was brilliant from your writing, history, and also as a performer and your comedy. And I just thought, who's better to bring this to life in 2025 than Rob? So you made it happen.
Yeah, I really was excited by the idea of not burning these old texts because we can't do them anymore, and seeing whether we can find a way around them, because there is so much timeless comedy within that farce. There's so much brilliance in it, and it would be a shame if we all, agreed that, well, that was of its time, so we must move on. Well, why not bring it to this time? Why not? It is possible. And we navigated it by making that central conceit, not a cis man who is scared of wearing women's clothes, but of somebody who tries on clothes that aren't assigned to their gender and actually really bloody loves it. And how Victorian England responds to, well, this frightening figure of somebody that could enjoy wearing a pair of stockings. And I think that's kind of potent in 2025, and it exposes the ridiculousness and the absurdity of that fear through comedy. If we make people think someone wearing different clothes than they're used to, if we make them scared of it, it's kind of funny, because you're going, the bigger fish to fry. So that's where the comedy comes from in our version.
Yeah. And also just on that, we've kept it in Victorian England. We've kept that period. We've kept a lot of the original dialogue. So people who love and know the story will come and recognize it, but also Rob has given it a really fresh twist. And so that's what audiences can kind of expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels almost like you're giving it a little knock around the head, just to be like, come on, get with the 21st century, but also preserving the heart of what made it so successful.
Yeah, and just expanding on the original. We're not losing any of the original. It's not as though we've gone, that don't work anymore. We've simply actually just opened it up to a wider demographic.
And given it a really healthy trim as well.
Yeah.
It was very long.
It was about 3 hours long, yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing like what the Lion King guys did to Hamlet. It's not sort of like
No, they are all humans.
Yes.
I was going to say, if everyone emerged in like feline outfits on day one, I'd be like, oh god, this has gone in a strange direction. Yeah. And how has that been with you guys working together on this? Because that must be such an important part of that, and sort of like how to then find those moments of exploration and joy whilst also retaining that heart and keeping that central to the overall project.
We both have a deep respect for the original, which helps as a foundation, but we both share the same sensibility and desire in wanting to make it accessible and relatable, and also keeping it very, very funny. and truthful. You know, there's so many different components that we need to be reaching, and I think we agree that all of these dilemmas that these farcical characters are experiencing are very real to them, which again allows the comedy to flourish. When people believe wholeheartedly in their absurdity, it makes for a good comic character.
Yeah, I think we've both been really aligned with this project on what we want to achieve with it.
Yeah.
And that really has stayed the same from the first time we spoke through to now draft whatever 5 or whatever we're on. Our focus has been really aligned, and so that's been really helpful. And also, as you say, just maximizing the comedy, which obviously is at the heart of it. And I think when Rob first sent over the draft, I read through it and I was laughing out loud, which never happens, but it's genuinely really, really funny. And
yeah, we had our first table read a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? And I was on the way in on the tube and suddenly feeling very anxious and nervous because we've enjoyed it and we've read it, but only, you know, in our heads. I typed away and had a giggle at myself like a cocky writer, but then on the tube in thinking, oh no, we've now assembled a team of actors. I hope it's funny. I hope it does land. But they are brilliant. The cast they've just got funny bones running through their veins, every single one of them. So I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Me too.
And Rob, I know that we announced, I think there was Bank of Days was sort of like publicly unveiled slightly earlier this year, but was this the first piece that you were working on exclusively as a writer compared to, say, My Sons Are Queer, where you were also performing? And what was that like as a new frontier to be like, okay, I'm not actually going to be on this stage every night, but I am going to be responsible for what's coming out of these performers' mouths every night?
Oh, I'm thrilled I won't have to steam my vocal cords every day. I think Jakeman's will go out of business. I've really enjoyed the challenge of meeting the material sort of halfway almost. I was commissioned to adapt it, which is the first of its kind for me. I often think of an idea and then beg people to put it on in some format rather than have somebody trust me with a pre-existing source, and trying to match Brandon Thomas's language and tone with my own has been fun. It's really challenged me, and it's great to show a different facet that I hopefully can write for other people and not just myself. Other people will be in this one, not just one person with their videos.
And Sophie, it was really sort of, I can't believe it's been a year already, but announcing the stage debut nominees this time for Best Director, almost like a year on from you winning. Can you reflect on that process? Because again, it just feels like that was like seconds ago that you were picking up that award. But can you reflect on that win and also the year since then, and now, you know, taking part in this really fantastic revival or new adaptation?
Yeah, I know. I can't believe how quickly the year has gone. I saw when the nominees were announced this year, I was like, oh my God, it's been a year already. But it's been a sort of amazing year. And I think the Bleeding Tree, which is the show that I won the prize for, was so different to Charley's Aunt. It couldn't be further from that material. And so it feels like a really exciting challenge, because I think farce is so specific. It's almost like choreography. And I think as a director, that feels like a really meaty kind of a challenge for me. And so I feel really excited. I think we've got an amazing creative team, obviously Rob, all of our actors, and the Watermill is such a great home for it. So I feel really, really grateful and really lucky to be doing it.
You're preempting my next question around farce, because I think in the sort of popular zeitgeist, there's the assumption that farce is a very easy thing because you just got to make people laugh, and it's just like, oh, you know, very low stakes. But actually, technically, it is one of the most tricky art forms to get right, and it can go so wrong sometimes.
And that's the trick of it, is making it look easy, making it look, well, again, honest and real. We can't believe that these people are, you know, forcing themselves to slip on banana skin. It has to look genuine, and that requires a hell of a lot of, like you say, choreography and timing. It's a domino effect. If one if one piece of the puzzle goes wrong, the whole thing will fall apart. So it needs to be so intrinsically staged.
Yeah, and I think making people laugh is a lot harder than making people cry.
Yeah.
And so finding that consistency in timing and rhythm, staging, finding opportunities for laughter, but framing it within a truthful world in which these characters inhabit and totally believe in their dilemmas, I think is the key to it. And so, yeah, I think a lot of rehearsals is going to just be about really fine tuning the comedy and finding the language for it.
So are you rehearsals starting, or have they already started, or are they starting
We
ASAP?
are today.
Ah, okay. So this is almost like this is your amuse-bouche kind of prep moment. This is where the reality kind of starts to slowly creep in as journalists ask you a wave of questions about the project. And that's exciting. So can you talk a bit about finding cast members then that you think can fit that mold? Because again, I think it's not every actor can do farce. I think even, again, as you were saying, Rob, it's about making it look easy, and not every actor can make it look easy.
Yeah.
Rob, obviously you have made it look easy countless times over the years for farcical projects. So
I would
that's
say my work is very serious at all times, Alex.
But yeah, that was one of the things when we were running the auditions that obviously we were looking for, and I feel really lucky because the cast that we've assembled are hilarious.
They're
Just
brilliant.
doing that naturally, and Max Gill, who's at the heart of it as Charley's aunt, obviously the character's called Babs, but they're the one that goes on that journey, is hilarious and brilliant, and will bring totally their own craft and identity to it, and that feels really exciting.
Wow. And what specifically about the Victorian farce as an era, what is there distinct about that period of drama? It's just coming just slightly before Oscar Wilde explodes, but there is such a specific theatrical vein that runs through that period of history in terms of theatre.
It holds up a mirror to how absurd rules are and how funny rules can be. All of these strict social constraints that we have to adhere to, actually, when you put that in front of an audience, it makes them go, oh yeah, that's kind of stupid. Why can the girls not be seen with the men if they don't have a lady chaperone? That is nonsense. Why can this butler not wear a pair of stockings? It really shows that all of these things that we take very seriously in day-to-day life are actually fabricated and absurd. All of these social rules are nothing but social constructs, and that can be quite funny to poke fun at the irony of all of that.
Yeah, because I think Victorian era was so prescriptive in terms of gender norms and class and hierarchy, and that's really baked into Charley's aunt. I think obviously originally was a kind of ridicule of class and gender. And looking at that now from a 2025 lens, you go, how did these people exist in such a kind of confined, limiting time period? But then also going, how far have we come, but how far can we go? And that all felt like really juicy kind of material to play with.
So, Rob, are you maintaining any of the original text, or is it all?
Yeah.
Cool. So
yeah.
How do you find the points where you say, okay, Thomas ends, Madge begins, and sort of like find the gap?
It's a great question. I went back to the original text, and I can't think of a very educated answer for this. There would just be certain moments that would be a light bulb moment. I go, oh, this would require this, X would require Y. And over the course of, like you say, I've done 5 or 6 drafts now, the language has got more and more, hopefully, intertwined. Hopefully it doesn't feel like Brandon Thomas has stopped talking and Rob Madge has. Hopefully there's a marriage between those two languages, and we share a similar tone, but we're coming at it from completely different epochs. So hopefully, I wanted to embrace the theatricality of it all as well. I wanted to admit that we're doing a comedy play. Of course, some of these Victorians wouldn't have said one is getting the ick, for example. Of course, they wouldn't have said that. But we're doing a comedy play in 2025 that just happens to be set in Victorian England. So embracing that form, and you've been really trusting of that, which has helped. And the actors also have really committed to the bit wholeheartedly.
Because we don't want to deny audiences who love this play some of the original jokes. And, you know, there's that iconic line, "I'm Charlie's aunt from Brazil, where the nuts come from." And we're not going to be getting rid of things like that. But when we did the reading, even, we were kind of going, oh, what are the Brandon jokes that actually don't feel very funny now? And then what are the jokes that feel really, really funny and resonant? And they're just kind of meshing the two worlds together.
Yeah.
Can you both talk about maybe the excitement of a space like the Watermill for this? Because it's such a unique, intimate space where almost like just by being surrounded by foliage and trees and bushes, etc., you feel safer there than you do in a lot of places. And you feel as though everyone has assembled for a story.
Yes.
In a way, in the West End, you kind of, oh no, I've just fallen into a theatre by accident. Look, there's a show on. Here it feels like it's almost like there's like a communal area, the communal vibe to it all.
Yeah, you just used the word I was going to use. It feels very communal, and it feels safe and inclusive. And we are specifically doing a Come As You Are night in association with Newbury Pride, which, you know, headliners Come As You Are every night, but it's great to have that specific date, you know, on the website to be able to tell our audience, you know, we are fully committed to making this an inclusive, safe space where, like you say, we're all coming to share a story together. And it's embracing that thing I love about theatre, which is acknowledging the audience. I love it when actors and the creative team don't hide behind a fourth wall. We're not breaking the fourth wall per se in this show, but we're all there to laugh together, and we're there to experience this night of madness together.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the Watermill is such an intimate space. It will mean there's a real shared experience going on with the audiences in that space, which feels really exciting. And also, I think the Watermill's just putting out such amazing work at the moment, and that feels a really exciting thing and a privilege to be part of. And is known for taking risks and doing kind of an inventive storytelling, and I very much feel this sits within that.
Yeah.
As both evident by the fact that across 2 years you both won debut awards with the stage, as two sort of like rising star creatives, therefore, I hope you don't mind if I use that description for you both. So
I certainly don't mind.
Again. How does it feel when a venue says, right, we want you guys to take this on? It's a beloved classic, but we want to hear what you have to say, and we want to hear how you can entertain our audiences.
It's lovely. It's something I never really imagined would happen. It feels like you're doing good. You're doing good, kid. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like, oh, the work that you're putting out into the world is resonating in one way or another, and people value your voice and your opinion, because ultimately that's what I'm bringing to every work I do. I bring my experience and my opinion and my thought process to it. So it's very validating, and it's nice to be trusted and to collaborate with that in mind.
Yeah, and I think the Watermill is a space that really does take risks on people and trusts in emerging talent, and facilitates that growth. And I think that not loads of venues are doing that, and I think they just really it's really difficult to make work. And so to be trusted by a venue and to go on that journey and feel the support of that venue is amazing. And I would feel very lucky.
Yeah, I think, you know, looking at Jesus Christ Superstar defending, but then Lord of the Rings down in Plymouth, or Calamity Jane being on tour everywhere. It's like, for a venue that's so intimate, as you say, Sophie, to then also have the capacity to light up stages across the UK is so important. It must be so great for you guys to know that you're in that, to return to the word, that community that allows that national picture to evolve, but in a very intimate context.
Yeah, it's a really exciting venue to be part of, and like you say, they do such brilliant work that resonates on a much bigger platform as well. So it's brilliant. I'm chuffed.
Yeah.
Has it given you both like the a bug for adaptation, or are you thinking, okay, what can we do next? How far back can we go? Like, what other plays from the 19th century could we attack next? Maybe attack's a strong word. Praise.
Well,
Definitely,
yeah, I think ultimately we're in a position now where people are frightened to reinvent, and actually it can be done. It just takes a lot of work, and the work is worth it. There are some brilliant texts out there that can get forgotten about. Some should be. some are non-salvageable. But for the most part, I think we just have to get a little bit smarter and braver. I was trepidatious taking on this project. I was like, how am I going to make this central conceit work? And then you get the words on the page and you start playing around and you go, oh, this could be possible. So yeah, I'll gladly take another leap of faith on something that we want to chuck in the bin.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like really rich terrain to start with, to get these amazing words that the writer's written, and then to go, oh my gosh, we get to adapt that and be part of the process of evolving it. And I've really enjoyed that process so far. So yeah, I would love to do more.
Can you talk a bit about like how far do you measure, like, and Sophie, you mentioned the iconic lines, but how far do you factor in like how much an audience is willing to go with you if they've already seen the play? I think like Sarah, who's our head critic, was saying like, oh, she saw it many moons ago. I won't say how long because I think she probably she would enjoy me saying it was a while back, but just to say like that sort of thing in terms of, you know, they all have these perspectives on this play, but then to say like, but I guess at the same time you have to embrace the fact that they're also willing to embrace the 2025 version, the Rob Madge version at Watermill.
Well, there's no negating that it's happened many times before. This is simply a new version of that. And there's no throwing away the old version. You know, that will always remain and that will always stay. We're just widening the net and offering people who perhaps don't know the play a blooming funny, spanking new adaptation, we hope.
Yeah, exactly. And I really do feel for those who love the original, they will still see the original in this. We've retained the characters, we've retained a lot of the dialogue, the structure of it is roughly the same, and so that it's not like we've kind of erased everything and gone like, here's the new version, but it's nothing like the old version. It really is a meeting of the two.
Completely.
So I think both audiences who knew and love the previous version and those who've never heard of it will come and be equally entertained and enjoy it.
I guess then, I know it's still quite early doors, but and maybe you're at different stages of the overall process, but is there something here that you've really reveled in doing for the first time that you've never done on any other project that you just want to scream about the fact that you've really enjoyed doing?
What feels really cohesive, I mean, touch wood, with this is this modern eye with this period piece. So architecturally and with all of our silhouettes and costume, we've kept this kind of Victorian framework, but then met it with this vibrant, bold, bright color palette and textures. Similarly, we've put some really fun pop songs in there, but then we've retained a kind of classical feel to them. And I think across the board, there's going to be this feeling of hopefully a really cohesive pop, vibrant, modern world meeting Victorian England. And that has felt really exciting as a framework to work with.
Yeah. If they can do Beyonce and Bridgerton, we can do Gaga in Brandon Thomas.
Exactly.
Charley's aunt.
Thank you for listening to this bonus episode of the What's on Stage podcast. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment wherever you can. We'll be back with full episodes every Friday and a smattering of bonus episodes in between.